In the famous words of a little COD YouTuber, Call of Duty is back. Or is it? What's up, guys? Today we'll be talking some Black Ops 7. My first impressions, what I'm liking, what I'm not liking, and at the end we'll answer the question, is Call of Duty actually back? So to start off, I wanted to talk about the movement. If you watch my Black Ops 6 video, you know I'm not a massive fan of the faster movement and omni movement mechanics. I think it's kind of led to COD's confusing identity and just adds an extra layer of sweatiness to the game. But dare I say I can actually get behind the improvements they've made with the movement, especially since the beta. Even during the beta, the movement felt way toned down from BO6, and now in the full game it seems like they nerfed it even more. Even just the addition of no base tac sprint makes a huge difference. This is definitely one of the slower CODs in recent years, and to me this movement feels like a bit faster, more crazy version of Cold War, which roast me if you want, but I loved the movement from Cold War. And it also feels like a little more polished version of MW2 from 2022. Maybe a little more on the MW2 side, to be honest. And at the end of the day, I don't think we're ever going back to that Cold War era movement, let alone how it was during the golden age of COD. But if it stays like this, and even if they slow it down a bit more, I can see it being way more bearable than the last few CODs have been. And you'll obviously run into some cracked out movement demons still, but I feel like it's way less than it was in BO6. And maybe that's because the maps are a little bigger now, or with the open playlist, which we'll get to, but I do think the nerfed movement has played a big part in that. Oh yeah, and the wall bouncing. I always forget that it's in the game. It's kind of cool, I guess. I barely use it and I don't find people abusing it to the point of making me rage. So let's keep it that way. I'm looking at you, mouse and key players. So moving on to the maps. This is an area which has a big influence on how much I end up liking a COD, and I think most COD fans would agree good maps are probably the most important thing for them too. And my opinions on them are kind of split. On one hand, Raid, Hijacked, and Express feel absolutely amazing to play. When I get lobbies in them, I would say is when I have the most fun playing this game. Obviously a bit because of nostalgia, but they are also just such perfectly laid out maps, and surprisingly still flow extremely well with the faster movement. But the reskin versions of them, except Hijacked, I don't really think they changed it, look pretty cool, but man, I wish they did a true reimagine of these maps. Like, do yourself a favor and look up Empire or Skyjacked from BO3 or even Studio from BO2. If they start remastering maps like that, good night Jim Kite, I will be having a blast on this game and won't care who knows. As far as the brand new maps, this was something I was afraid of since the beta, but they don't really do much for me, to be honest. Now, I don't really hate any of them except maybe Forge or Cortex, mostly because of the doors. But I would describe most of the maps as just okay. I would say the maps give heavy BO4 vibes, maybe slightly worse because I did actually like a lot of the maps from Black Ops 4. But with that being said, they are a big improvement from BO6. And I guess depending how you felt about the maps from Black Ops 6, that might not be saying much. And I feel like in BO6, the maps, especially on release, were either super small or super big. They didn't really have that medium-sized maps, which are my personal favorite. And I think the maps from BO7, for the most part, feel pretty medium-sized. The biggest thing I've noticed too is that they just feel like Treyarch maps. The BO6 maps, just the aesthetic and vibes of them felt like Infinity Ward developed them. But in BO7, they have that arcadey arena shooter vibes to them that Treyarch is known for. But I don't know, man, the new maps still feel pretty clustered with random shit and just don't hit the same as some classics. But in the same breath, these maps do give me some hope that they're on the right track and could potentially release some pretty good ones down the line. But let me know what you think of the maps, because it seems like they're being received quite well. And obviously we had to talk about it, the open matchmaking. Now this is a big reason why I wanted to put some hours in the game and wait a little bit to see how it was playing, because it seems like some people are having different experiences with it, especially on day one. I never did the New Zealand trick because I actually, have a life. I'm joking, relax, don't take it to heart. I totally would have, but I didn't know how. And obviously the people doing that are die-hard COD fans, so SPMM or no SPMM, it's going to be sweaty regardless. But even now, about a week after launch, there's still some mixed reviews. People saying they're still getting in sweaty lobbies, skill-based matchmaking is still implemented to a degree, and some people are saying it's like the old games and can finally play a little more casually. But in my opinion, it's definitely way toned down. I get a nice mix of lobbies. If I absolutely pop off in one game, I don't immediately get thrown into a different skill bracket. I'm actually able to string together a handful of really good games. And I've seen people saying oh, I popped off for a game or two, then immediately got destroyed for the next 3 games straight. SBMM is still here, everybody. I actually think some people believe no SBMM means you'll just continuously get bot lobby after bot lobby. And obviously that's not true. I will say though, it doesn't entirely feel like OG no SPMM lobbies, and I think I know why. I would say the average COD player now is way better than the average player 10 or 15 years ago. Like in games I pop off in, the worst players aren't going like 5 or 20 or something like that, which you would definitely see in OG CODs. They're usually sitting pretty close to a 1 KD. They are below my skill level for sure, but they're not so bad to the point that I can just run around aimlessly and go like 40 and 5. I'd consider myself a slightly above average player, and if you're in the same boat as me, you won't really need to play like your life depends on it to have a crazy game, but you'll definitely still need to try. All in all though, the matchmaking does feel good and refreshing, and it's nice to actually get a wide variety of games and not feel like you're playing the same game over and over again. So those were obviously the meat and potatoes of Black Ops 7, but I also want to touch on some other aspects of the game. The gunplay feels good, better than BO6 I think, but it's definitely an AR favored game right now. Like, I don't know about you guys, but the SMGs in this game suck. Besides the Dravik, is that how you say Dravik? That thing actually melts. And as you can tell by my gameplay, I'm clearly enjoying the MXR. It's giving heavy BO2 AN94 vibes. The kill streaks are pretty standard, nothing too special except the dog and the rhino, which are actually pretty cool, but annoying as fuck to get chased and killed by. There's also a massive camo grind with probably hundreds you can unlock. There's also a ton of BO2 camos, like the bacon camo and weaponized 115, which is actually pretty sweet. Speaking of camos though, I'm not a massive fan of the gold and diamond ones they have this year. I much prefer the BO6 ones. Oh yeah, and they heavily nerfed aim assist, and man, am I feeling it, because I spray my shots. Whoa, pause. I mean, I'm on controller, so obviously I'm not a fan of it, and it's definitely noticeable, but hey, what are you gonna do, right? And that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess it's season 0 or preseason, I don't really know what you call it, but they're hyping up the content they have planned for this year, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. I also wanted to briefly talk about something I see brought up, which is this game is a DLC to BO6. And in my opinion, I disagree with that. They obviously have similarities because they are back-to-back Black Ops games developed by the same studio, but it feels different enough for me to not classify it as a DLC. I remember saying it during the beta of BO6 last year, but Black Ops 6 did not feel like a Treyarch COD to me. I thought it felt more like Modern Warfare 2023, just with Omni movement. To me, Black Ops 7, while maybe not great, feels more similar to Cold War and actually feels like a Treyarch game. I do think though the yearly releases are hurting the franchise, especially when you go back-to-back Modern Warfare games and then back-to-back Black Ops games. Because at the end of the day, how much can you really change in a year, right? So from a casual's perspective, I can kind of see how they think COD is just pumping out DLCs. I don't know, maybe that's an insane take, and if you disagree, just take it easy on me in the comments. Now with all that being said, is Call of Duty back? I don't know. Like, everybody has different opinions on what COD should be like. To me, COD being back would be like how it was during the Golden Age, or at very least the Cold War style. To other people, it could be wanting SPMM removed, wanting them to stop recycling old maps and make new iconic ones, wanting them to retire the Black Ops and Modern Warfare series and create new ones, wanting them to stop the yearly releases. You get my point. But I will say this, now that we have the open playlist, if they can stay true to not going stupid with the goofy skins, keep building on the improved maps, and have a good year of content, I think this could be one of the better Call of Duties we've had in recent years. At this point, I think the franchise is under such a microscope, and any little issue with the game is going to get blown up. There's also so many other options out right now, Battlefield, Arc Raiders, and even Fortnite Simpsons, which I've actually been having a blast with. So regardless of what COD would have done this year, I think players who are done with the game are just done with it, and they have other options now. But from someone who still consistently plays the old Call of Duties, and the last one I actually really enjoyed was Cold War, I think this has the potential to be a pretty good game. But let me know what you guys think. Is COD finally turning a corner, or are you completely done with the franchise? As always, fellas, thanks for watching. My Leafs aren't doing too great right now, but it's still November. Lots of hockey to play, so I'm not too worried. I'll catch you in the next one, boys. Peace.